I'm Jamie Kell-Miller of Pandora Astrology here in Berkeley, California, and with me is...
Hey guys, I'm Julia Mikos, joining in from New York this time.
Yeah, how about that? So today we want to talk with you about the solar eclipse in the middle of December 2020, happening in the sign of Sagittarius. And as you can see, we have the sun and moon together in Sagittarius here, forming a square to Neptune and a trine to Mars. I think it's kind of fortunate, actually, that the trine to Mars is more precise, because that would suggest that it's stronger than the square to Neptune. But let's take a moment to just think out loud about what eclipses signify. An eclipse is a moon, a lunation, in this case, a new moon. And if it's a new moon, then it's going to be a solar eclipse, not a lunar eclipse. This one is a total, and we know that because it's quite close to the south node here at 19 degrees. There's really only a 4-degree differential between them, and therefore this eclipse is quite precise, quite total, and going to be felt pretty intensely by anybody who has something in their chart in 18 to 28 degrees of a mutable sign, the mutable signs being Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And particularly, the closer you have it to 23 degrees, the more you're going to feel this eclipse. So eclipses are a time when, for one reason or another, life forces us to look at our shadow. Solar eclipses differ from lunar eclipses in that solar eclipses are often more physical, more outer world in their effect. Something happens that other people in your life can actually see, and that you experience with some reality, and it forces you to look at your shadow. And by shadow, I mean that which is behind you. I mean shadow in the Jungian sense, like the stuff that's behind you that you don't really look at, that you kind of wish wasn't there, and like, you know, really should integrate at some point. So this one's in Sagittarius. And so for that reason, I've chosen some words that are very Sagittarian: worldview, beliefs, resilience. Sagittarius is the sign which gives us this side of ourselves that is a seeker, a side of ourselves that is looking to adopt, adapt, create, participate in a worldview that will help us find meaning, especially where the rubber hits the road in life, where we really struggle to find meaning. Those moments when you want to shake your fist at God and say, why do bad things happen to good people? If in those moments, your worldview, whether you get it from like the church of your childhood, or whether you get it from some, you know, mystical order halfway around the world from where you grew up, or whether you get it from, you know, some other way of having a, you know, a Weltanschauung, a worldview, a perspective. No matter how you get it, your worldview should be able to explain to you any human experience, no matter how painful, render it meaningful, and allow you to be happy. And this is how we find resilience. So I figure, you know, this being an eclipse, it's probably going to have some pretty big ups and downs, meaning some pretty big painful moments, and, you know, a kind of a difficult, let's say, bad path that you can go down with this. And then also some pretty big growth opportunities, like a very positive path that you could choose. I'm going to say more about that in a minute, but before I do, Julia, I want to hear your thoughts about this eclipse.
Yeah, well, I think that all of this happening in Sagittarius, you know, the sign of our beliefs, the sign, like what you just said, of how we kind of constellate meaning in our lives, means that there could be some sudden unexpected challenges, or perhaps even sudden opportunity for growth in these areas. And I'm looking at that trine from this super confident Mars in Aries, and also that square from this kind of nebulous Neptune, really strong in Pisces. And I see kind of like, you know, having the gas and brake on at the same time a little bit, kind of like having a lot of confidence and sort of, and even maybe boastfulness and haughtiness about beliefs, at the same time being completely confused, being deluded, feeling led astray, lack of confidence about them at the same time.
Yeah, I think all of that is really pertinent. And as you were talking, I noticed that we have got Mercury here in Sagittarius, along with this Sun conjunct the South Node. Oh goodness, my software is going bonkers right now. And Mercury, of course, represents voice, right? Mercury is the communicator. It rules Gemini, which is where the North Node is. And the North Node sign is pretty much going to be the high road, right? If you head towards the North Node sign, you're going to be pretty confident of coming out of this thing, you know, in a good way, because that's the place that's pro-evolutionary. The South Node in Sagittarius, I think, really is like the negative path in terms of Sagittarius, when it goes wrong, can be very opinionated, very zealous, expansionist, you know, like manifest destiny. I see a space in front of me, it must be mine.
Yeah.
Like kind of a crusader, you know, in that way. And I'm thinking like literally historically, you know, crusades were times when people of a certain religion would go into an area where people did not worship that religion and then force them to on the end of a pike. So this is how bad Sagittarius can get with its, you know, zealous faith, let's say, like beliefs, right? Now, Sagittarius has a good side, of course, and we all know what that is. Sagittarius can be very tolerant, very open-minded, very much able to respond flexibly to foreign cultures and like adapt to foreign situations. Always seeing the opportunity for growth, relaxed, happy-go-lucky, generous. You know, these are some of the positive Sagittarius traits that we love. And but the South Node being here and Mercury being here, I would think that it's really important that if, you know, if the shadow that you're being shown says that you are too opinionated, you are pushing your views on other people and not hearing them, not communicating back and forth with them, then it probably would be wise to see that about yourself during this eclipse and take the growth opportunity instead of the path of like zealotry on the end of a pike. Now, one thing that you often remind me about eclipses, Julia, is that the nodes, like where this eclipse is relative to the nodes, really matters. And this is a South Node eclipse, right? It's connected with the South Node, and so that would be a releasing eclipse, right?
Yeah.
So what are your
very
thoughts
much so
about that? How does that come into play?
My thoughts
releasing.
My thoughts is that it's about, you know, Sagittarius, like you named all the you know, features of the sort of negative manifestation of Sagittarius, and with that releasing South Node on there as well, I would say it's a time of releasing what you think you know. And it's a time of sort of just kind of letting go of your worldview as you see it rigidly, and as you want to be maybe sanctimonious about it or go on a crusade about it. And Gemini, which is the sign the North Node is in, is kind of beckoning us to be curious, to ask questions, to listen. It's air sign, so it's more social. It wants to hear the other side. You know, Sagittarius is not comfortable with not knowing.
Say that again.
Absolutely. Don't go on a crusade. Yeah. Have a conversation instead of a crusade is definitely, I think, a big message here.
So Mars could support that eclipse, you know, in its bad path by, you know, bringing in the full force of anger and will and even violence, or it could support the eclipse on its good path by, you know, being the white-hatted sheriff who rides into town to restore order, you know, in a way that enhances tolerance instead of, you know, flattening it. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot. There's a lot here, right? There's a lot to unpack. So
Mm.
this one was particularly interesting. And you will find more great news of December 2020 in our December 2020 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. And you can always find the news of the month on our monthly forecast page at pandoraastrology.com. And you can even have readings with us. You can find us at pandoraastrology.com/services if you're interested in a reading. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.